Okay, let's talk about something that can totally level up your English. You ever feel like you're saying everything correctly, but it doesn't sound quite natural? Well, what if I told you there's a tense that native speakers use all the time, and it's actually super easy to get the hang of?
In fact, let me ask you this. What will you be doing tomorrow at this time? See that? I just used it. That's the future continuous, and it's not some dusty old grammar rule. It's how people actually talk about their plans.
And here's our game plan. We're going to meet the future continuous, see how to build it, figure out when to use it, learn the one big exception you got to remember, and then wrap up with common questions and mistakes. Easy, right?
All right, part one. Let's get properly introduced to the future continuous. What is this thing, and why is it so important?
Honestly, the name kind of gives it away. It's about the future, obviously. And continuous means it's an action that will be in progress. It'll be happening over a stretch of time. So think of it less like a single dot on a timeline and more like a long line.
So, how do we actually make this tense? You're going to love this because it's basically a simple recipe that never, ever breaks.
It's just three little pieces. First, you need your subject. I, you, the dog, whatever. Then you add the magic words will be. And here's the best part. Will be never changes. It's always the same. Then you just take your main verb and stick ing on the end. That's it.
So let's see it in the wild. I will be working on Sunday. There it is. You've got your subject, I, you've got your magic words, will be, and you've got your verb, work, with ing. It's clean, simple, and perfect every time. Okay, now that you know the formula, when do you actually use it? Let's check out the situations where this tense is the perfect tool for the job.
The number one most common reason is to talk about something that's going to be happening for a while at some point in the future.
This timeline shows it perfectly. See, you could say, I will start work at 9 a.m. That's just one moment in time. But if you want to talk about that whole chunk of time, from 9 to 5, that's when you say, I will be working. It describes the entire duration, not just the start.
It's also great for talking about what you'll be right in the middle of doing at a specific time. Like, don't call me at 8 p.m., I'll be watching a movie. You can even use it for two things happening at once in the future. For example, tomorrow night, she'll be studying while he'll be cooking. Pretty useful, huh?
Now here's a little bonus tip. Using this tense to ask questions can sound a lot softer, a lot more polite. Instead of a direct, will you stay, which can feel a bit demanding, asking, will you be staying for dinner, feels more casual and puts less pressure on the other person. It's a neat little social trick. Okay, this all seems pretty easy so far, right? But there is one really important rule you have to know. This is the one thing you can't get wrong, and it's called the stative verb exception. So here's the deal. English verbs fall into two camps. You have dynamic verbs, which are actions, things you do, like running or working. Then you have stative verbs, which describe states or conditions, things you are, like loving someone or knowing a fact. You can't really be in the middle of knowing something, right? So stative verbs just don't work with any continuous tense.
Let's look at an example. Love is a state, an emotion. It's not an action you perform for a few hours. That's why saying you will be loving this car sounds so strange. You have to use the simple future, you will love this car.
And it's the same thing with a mental state like understand. It's not an action. It's a state you're in once you get it. So you wouldn't say he will be understanding it. You just say he will understand.
All right, we are in the home stretch. Let's just polish up your skills by looking at how to form questions and dodge a few common mistakes.
You can think of this as your quick reference guide. For a positive sentence, it's just what we learned. Subject plus will be plus verbing. To make it negative, you just swap will be for won't be. And for a question, you just flip the first two words. Will goes before the subject. Oh, and if you really want to sound natural when you're speaking, you've got to use contractions. I will be becomes I'll be. She will be becomes she'll be. And will not be is almost always shortened to won't be. It just makes everything flow better. Okay, pop quiz. Take a look at this sentence. When they will be fixing the car. This is a super common mistake. Can you see what's wrong with it? And the fix is so simple. You just have to remember that rule for questions. Will and the subject have to swap places. So it's not when they will, it's when will they be fixing the car. That little flip makes all the difference.
And here's one last little tricky rule to remember. With short answers, you can use a contraction for the negative, like no, I won't. But for a positive answer, you can't. You have to say the full phrase, yes, I will. It's a bit weird, I know, but that's just how it works.
And just like that, you've got it. Seriously, you know the recipe, you know when to use it, and you know the common traps to avoid. You are totally ready to start using this in your conversations.
So, that brings me to my final question for you. Think about your week ahead. How will you be using the future continuous tense? Give it a try.